but if it's what you got, rock it. Go have some fun.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Trevor, what kind of stupid stuff did you do this weekend? You shake it, and it's not like carbonation, but bubbles form up and kind of they get up around the top, and then they slowly go down. It doesn't make it's not like there's no seat like an XR650, Andrew. You missed out.
That's true.
You missed out on a sit down. I mean, there was a time when sitting down was the way you rode. You sat down the whole time. Welcome to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday, episode number, I forgot. Didn't do my research to figure out which one it was, but it's in the 260s. I'll just tell you that. Happy Tuesday. It's awesome to be back on the air after a 1-week hiatus because I was riding down in Baja. The internets aren't as good down there, so I couldn't do the show. I didn't promise I was going to do the show, and I didn't do the show. But tonight, we got a banger of a show in store for you. I got my good buddy who I was just talking to him today. I'm like, hey, Andrew, do you want to be on Tech Talk Taco Tuesday? So guess what? Andrew Short is on Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. And I'm going to try to figure out how to make the screen work properly so that you can see. There's Andrew. Andrew, welcome to the show. Say hi.
Hey, thanks for having me. Have the Dakar hangover currently. So
yeah, we'll definitely get into that a little bit. Let me see if I can figure out how to make this. I broke my screen already, and I should have two different screens going. If you have any questions or comments, so this is the show. So this show is Tech Talk. That's what we do. We Tech Talk. We talk about motorcycles and motorcycle-related products, and it's on Taco Tuesday. And I just walked back from the corner. We'll call it the Coyote Corner because that's what it is. And they have a little Mexican restaurant inside of the bar, and I have my tacos. So I've done everything required to do a proper Tech Talk Taco Tuesday night, including actually getting a really awesome co-host. So Andrew, welcome to the show. And so we're gonna. So this is the good thing. Andrew is the exact opposite of Jimmy when it comes to organization. Preparation, I think, is the same. It's just coming from two completely different directions. And he has a ton of knowledge on some subjects I actually want to get into tonight about motorcycles, especially when regular people like you, like that's you, the viewer, because unfortunately both Andrew and I have been factory riders before, and we know what it's like to be pampered and taken care of. Correct?
yeah, I mean, I've been on both levels. I feel like currently I'm living the dad life, so I'm far from factory. Come home to a shop full of broken bikes with my kid, and I want to go ride myself. So, yeah, I think relatable on some ends, but yeah, I've lived both sides of the life.
Yeah. So and my latest kind of like, just sort of, I don't know, just pet peeve is seeing like regular guys. So we're both living regular rider life right now. Like we buy our motorcycles, we build our motorcycles the way we want them, and we work on our own bikes and pretty much pay for the parts and stuff like this, correct?
Yeah. I spend more money than I even want to know with my kid as well. So that's the worst part.
Well, that's your kid who you're treating your kid like a factory rider.
Yeah.
So, so anyways, I got some questions on that front, especially with a lot of the stuff that we're seeing at the races, things that people are doing, and everybody. I'm in the motocross world. I think the riders are kind of more grasping that, hey, the production bikes are actually pretty good for the regular guy, but people that are really they get into it, they're like, oh, well, if so-and-so is doing this, or, they think they need to have their ECU completely remapped, or they think they need to have their suspension completely revalved, or they have a bike that has a hydraulic clutch and they need a cable clutch, or they have a cable clutch and then want a hydraulic clutch. And and none of this has ever changed, I feel, over time. You know what I mean? I mean, you always think you want something else, or because somebody else is racing with it, you think that you need that. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, there's a few things I'll go with. Like I was just watching Steel Roots with my kid before I came on here. I was scrolling through YouTube and he was playing a video game. I'm like, bro, you need to come in here and watch this. And so we started watching. It was like MC, Ryan Hughes, Mike Metzger, who is insanely talented. And the stuff they were doing was so big. And I'm like, bro, because I'm like, it's pretty big. But I'm like, the bikes were good, but the suspension is nowhere like it is now. So I think that puts it a little bit in perspective how big those guys were going. And places you're familiar with, like Dumont, but then Ocotillo, they went to Texas, all these places. So I think nowadays the bikes are so good, especially suspension. That's what I was trying to tell my son is he rides a 250F sometimes just to keep time off his 125. And that bike is like a factory bike. It's like I rode a factory 250F 2005, 6, something like that. And his bike is much better than like what I ever raced. But nowadays, it seems like all the factory bikes are going to these extended shocks. Like they're making the back end really tall. And this, I don't understand. Maybe the KTM, because of the anti-squat, their shock is like the new style, I think was a little less travel or stroke. But all the factory bikes, they're running these crazy long shocks now, especially the Japanese bikes, So this is confusing to me. And I don't think it would be very relatable to the consumer, but what do I know? I feel like the new bikes are so good now.
Yeah, but like you're saying, it's like you're super tuned in. You kind of understand this, and from my perspective, the reason they went to the longer shocks is so that they could control they would have more room to control. Like when KTM had PDS, did you ever get to ride? Do you ever race PDS KTMs?
I've only ridden PDS in the mountains
on enduro bikes, which it works just fine if you stay in the mountains. So PDS's big disadvantage is that it doesn't have a lot of the shock stroke because it's cramped up into a smaller pace, but they use a second piston inside of the shock shaft so that it gets, its position, PDS position, what do they call it? Progressive damping system. But anyways, it's a secondary piston that goes into a cone or a hole. There's a lot of different systems, whether it's Öhlins or WP, and all of a sudden it can act like a different kind of shock, but they don't have the stroke or the travel to work with. And have you ever ridden a PDS bike on a linkage?
No.
That not that you know of.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, 2011 at KTM, my first year there, that was their first linkage bike, but right. I don't know.
Yeah. And so there's all kinds of crazy stuff that they can do. But like you said, you're watching these guys back in the, late 90s, doing crazy stuff up in the hills. And compared to now, or even just, they were racing on very similar stuff, and it's gotten so much better. But they're still doing all the crazy stuff. That's what's kind of cool about it. Yeah,
nowadays they just put it on Instagram and everything else. But I'm like, back then that's all they had. It was I gotta tell my kid, the stuff they were doing was unbelievable. He's like, I don't know how this made them better for racing. And I go, maybe with balance, technique, and I don't know, but dude, it was like the life back then. That's how they did it.
Yeah, you just went and rode.
Yeah, and Guy Cooper was on there as well. Like, dude, he's a machine. He was amazing.
Yeah, I was racing against him at the time because he switched from motocross to off road, and he was coming and doing ISDE qualifiers and all this stuff like that. And okay, so they saying my volume is less than half of Andrew's. So Mark Allen, thank you for letting us know this. I'm going to try to bump my volume. Andrew, how's my volume on your side?
I can't hear you at all. I can
Oh, you
barely
can't hear
you.
me.
I just thought that
Welcome
was
to Tech
normal.
Talk
I thought
Taco
that was
Tuesday.
Jimmy rigged as it was.
It is. Let's see. What does that fix anything? No. Let me try a different mic. How about this one? Let me try this. Does that? How's that? Is that better? I got mics up the yin yang here. Let me turn these ones down. Is that any better on your side, Andrew?
Nope, it's the same.
Nope. Same. Okay, I gotta fix this. This is a horrible show to begin with. I need a sound engineer or something like that. People that do this properly, they don't get enough credit. But they probably have engineers as well. So let's see if I bump this up. How's that doing? Here, I got another knob. It's blowing my ears out here. What about if I go over here and I push this up? How's that working? Better?
Yep.
Okay. So that's fixing the sound. So one thing I did. So Mark Allen, please help me to see if I've adjusted the levels properly right now, because I want this show to be the best podcast show ever. I asked AI, what could I do to make Tech Talk Taco Tuesday better? See, I fixed it. See, I made it better. And it says, based on viewer feedback and common tech show trends, here's how to level it up. It says, tighten up the live logistics. It says, viewers have noticed that the host occasionally struggles with the soundboard on technical glitches. Having a dedicated intern or a producer to handle the chat and audio cues would allow Jimmy to focus entirely on answering technical dirt bike questions. We can just turn our brains off.
Basically just Rooster Indo right there, right?
Stoned Cage says he's got to turn his phone down now, so I say it's good. So Chris Real. Chris Real says the higher shock shaft speed really becomes challenging to dampen and stresses the fluid and makes everything very sensitive. So if we're diving into shocks, just for instance, like a longer stroke kind of tended to give you more control. I always felt, but at the same time, the longer shock gives you higher shaft speeds. Sometimes, depending on the linkage, and this is where it's all like all this crazy stuff. But how good? I mean, when you started racing, how good are the bikes now that you buy compared to what you were racing when you were a kid?
Yeah, I mean, the bikes are so good now. It's like a factory bike when you get one, and it's crazy that people complain about them. What I don't understand about these longer shock shafts is when I raced Supercross, I was never very comfortable if the bike got high in the rear, right? And how fast they're going through the rhythms, how fast they enter the whoop section, all these things, they have to have a lot of control. They must be super dialed in with their settings to get the bike that high in the rear, Well, and I'm not sure how they're controlling it or who figured it out, or it seemed like Yamaha was kind of the first ones to go this way. But what do you think?
Yeah, well, it's funny because when they start talking about high in the rear, I always, when I feel like high in the rear, that's because you want it to turn good. Yeah. You want it to put weight on the front wheel and you want the bike to turn good. But when it's high in the rear and then you go into, like you're talking about, rhythms or jumps or even bumps, and it gets low in the rear, it goes from high to low, that's a big problem. Yeah. And so people talk about like hold up, you want your bike to hold up, but hold up is kind of stiff initial, and it's where I always call it where it breaks, where it finally breaks through and starts moving through the stroke. And that's usually for me a transition from maybe spring to damping, and this is where it's like crazy. But if a rider can't explain or can't, say I feel this or feel that, you don't even need to think about it. Just ride a stock bike.
I've never experienced, I've never been through this process of what they're doing. And I think this is coming for production bikes, obviously. If on the pro end for motocross and supercross, they're trending this way, it only is a matter of time before a manufacturer is going to go this way for production as well.
hence the reason that I started asking this question in the beginning was because it's like these, the consumers start thinking they need something that they really don't.
Yeah.
They're asking for something that's just out of their realm, and then they think, because they do. Well, our good friend Lori, all she does is market research, and when all of a sudden, whether and a lot of times they're asking them very simple questions, but when they say, well, all the racers say that this bike works best, and it's like, what the racer is riding isn't anything you would not. I rode your factory bike.
Yeah.
Yours was good. Yours was pretty good. I liked your bike. I can't say that about Jeremy McGrath's bike. I can't say that about I liked your bike, and I like Tim Ferry's bike were the two bikes I remember really liking. Chad Reed's bike was one of the worst bikes. It was right up there with near McGrath's because he had a fork setting that was just like you needed to slam it into walls to make the forks move.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. He wanted to go into jump faces so fast and not have that thing go down. And same thing, he wanted to hold up in hoops, and a regular guy, you're never going to do that kind of stuff. So it's I think it's a really strange thing when this bleeds into the consumer market, and that's probably the really tough side on the production side is when you're testing it, it's like, well, this is what our, race team is asking for. And if we're winning, then the customers will think our bike is good, and I don't know, kind of spirals a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny because the race team wants something, then you give it to the race team, then they want something new or extra or different. They never want production, I know you're a big Blue Crew guy, but what did you think of all the new Kawasaki models? I thought we were going to see some new two strokes, but all we saw was a new 85 and some enduro bikes.
Have they shown it? Did they show it?
They showed a new 85, which had bigger forks, 43 mil forks, similar to an Austrian brand, bigger brakes, a few updates here and there. It actually looks like a pretty cool bike. And if you're a parent,
I missed that.
Huh?
It was well. I thought I'd heard they were going to show it at the AIM Expo. I heard they were going to show it at all these different places.
Yeah, Anaheim too. I read on Instagram, all this stuff.
So
it's like
this Kawasaki, and I texted my Kawasaki contacts and just checked in and stuff like that, and they're like, you should probably be looking for Chase Sexton in Anaheim too. And I'm like, hey, what about the other thing I know about that you guys have coming? And they're like, well, that's different, because so, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of back onto the subject of the things that people want, or they want to have put on their bikes. It's I kind of lost my train of thought a little bit, but I remember the Yamaha for me, it's kind of like at the end of the spectrum of all. If you take all the different bikes, the Yamaha's kind of on one end. And I kind of feel like the KTMs are maybe on the other end of just bike feel. Just if you hop on it, the Yamaha is aggressive and a little bit kind of stiffer in nature, and the power is aggressive. The handling is I would call it a little bit more precise, kind of front end ish, heavy, where the KTM is, I would say, a little bit more supple, a little more flexible. The power delivery is a little smoother. I would say the ride might be a little more balanced. Does that sound, you kind of agree with that stuff?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
In general,
I think both have strengths.
Yeah, they definitely have strengths. In the middle for me is the Kawasaki. And when Kawasaki went to this new bike, for sure, it does not feel like it has on the 450. It does not, and their 250s never felt like they had in the modern era. Had the same power as the competition, but they're really easy to ride. And when people are talking about wanting this and that, and I always, my go-to is like, so you're wide open on your 450, right? And they're like, well, no. And I'm like, well, then turn the throttle farther and you can have more power. Run the RPMs up, you can have more power. And like, well, I don't want power there. I want power down low.
Yeah.
then downshift and run the RPMs up. You'll get this when you start really running out of power, and it's a really the high level that you need to demand a 450 have more power. There's only a few people that need this, So, yeah, and same thing with suspension. I think the stock suspension on most of the bikes is pretty good, and it's really tricky for the manufacturer to decide, like, where do I actually set this? Like, where is the who are we setting it for? Is it like a high level novice or a high level intermediate or a low level pro? And and different companies have different suspensions for Europe and for USA and for Australia. There's lots of crazy stuff that goes into that.
But for the most part, as long as you spring the bike, the stock settings in the ballpark for you, and it's plenty good enough to be competitive and have fun, right?
I've always thought so. I can take if I use the bike for its intended purpose. So if I take a motocross bike at a what am I, a super senior now? I can whatever I am. I can go out and every single stock bike I can ride, and with doing some clickers and some suspension settings and things like that, I can ride it and make it totally acceptable. Yeah. I mean, it'll get the job done. But if I go, there's bikes that I have better, we'll call it, I have better feel that I'm more comfortable with. And I mean, that's just like, what are you riding right now as a motocross bike?
I have a KTM 350.
Oh, 350 now.
Yeah, and I'd like my 450 back. I want to argue with you with this.
Oh, you well, I didn't tell you to get a 350.
I got a 350 just for the red lens, but
okay.
I think this was a mistake.
Yeah, because you ride because you tend to use like the whole power band. You know where to use it. Where I think a 350 is going to be lacking, definitely on the bottom, yep. And then it just doesn't have. You can't roll through the turn that gear high easily, and then when the 350 sort of runs out of power, the 450 has that extra 10% more.
The 350 never really runs out of power. That's the thing. That thing revs to the moon. And It's super fun bike to ride, but it doesn't have the connection or the acceleration initially when you crack open the throttle. So I've spent so much time on a 450 that I feel comfortable with it. A 350 in the woods is like amazing for me, especially in Texas. I think that's like the bike to have for me for having fun. But when I go ride motocross, I love a 450.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. I mean, like for GNCC, the 350 seems like the perfect bike. Yeah. And I really wish Yamaha would make one because I like the amount of power that their 250Fs have, but if it had that 20 to 30% more, and with the way that they build bottom, that would kind of
it'd be unreal.
Make a 350 thing even better. But who knows why they don't do this or how? I don't. They're just giving that market away to KTM. But yeah, I didn't tell you to get a 350.
No, I had it in my head. But going back to what you said about suspension, there's a big difference now in 2025, 2026. You go back 15 years ago to 2010. If you just put springs in a stock setting, it's still pretty far off, I feel like. And now, especially with the KTM, it's cool. Like everyone knocks on the air system and the forks, but it's really easy just to add some air, and you can get it in the ballpark, or you can change it for the conditions if it's soft or hard packed. And there's so many things and resources that you can make it really good, really easy, and get it close enough to have fun. Where I don't think that was the case back in, like, say 2010. Definitely a little more difficult, I think.
I don't think so. I mean, where we kind of knew the production stuff, I think is been getting better and better because it suited a wider range. Like with the clickers and stuff like that, you're able to kind of do a lot more, I feel. The first thing is, you get it sprung for your weight. If you're like 200 pounds and under, and to 200 pounds to like 165 pounds, a stock bike's probably going to work. Yeah. Like I'm at 200 pounds. I'm a little heavy for a 250F, but I can kind of crank down the preload and get it to work pretty good. And on a 450, since I'm a little bit slower than maybe their target audience, the 450s, work just fine. Some brands are maybe sprung a little heavier, a little softer. And I think of all the manufacturers, KTM has come the farthest in the last few years, in just getting a well-rounded setup. And I think that has to, and it's real interesting. Like when the racers were complaining about the chassis and all these problems they're having, I thought that was one of the better chassis that they came out with. And then they switched to something else. And it's like, God, now I'm, before with that other chassis, I was really happy with the suspension. Now I'm all of a sudden fiddling with the suspension. And then same thing with Yamaha. Yamaha kind of changed their chassis and it made the suspension work better. It was kind of just weird. But, there's and this is why you can buy lots of different brands and lots of different things. But then back to the original thing I posed at you, man, quit paying attention to what these racers are doing, because I'm not anymore, but you are all a bunch of head cases.
Yeah. And I think all these chassis changes narrow the window for suspension, but I think that window is narrow also if you're racing motocross at a high level and you want everything to be perfect. Like if I go right off road, I could care less, more or less, what my bike feels like, as long as it's moving, going forward, and there's some suspension, like I'm happy. It's like I get so picky when I'm riding motocross or searching just for like absolute, to be my best, I guess. And that it's less fun and more difficult. But if I'm just going riding off road, I feel like it's not that hard. And your bike, it's pretty easy to get set up and you're just happy and going for it.
Right. And some of the best thing you do is like, hop on your buddy's bikes and just switch and ride something different to see, hey, is there some characteristic of this bike, or, especially if it's a different brand, a different thing, just see if there's things that you like. Just say, hey, maybe I can take my bike and move in this direction. And lately, and this is over the last year, I've been testing a lot less new bikes, just because I used to go test every single motocross bike. I don't do that anymore. And now I just don't have the time to ride every single off-road bike. I let Trevor do all that. I need to call him because evidently he raced a KLX 300 at a National Hare and Hound this weekend. I haven't heard how it went, but I got a text back that said it was a stupid idea. He should have been riding a Yamaha TW 200 is what he really should have been. And by the way, Tech Talk Taco Tuesday brought to you by Yamaha. That's why I will only say good things. I'll never say anything bad about a Yamaha on this show because they sponsor. So don't ask me to say anything bad about the Yamahas. But in doing all of this, not testing, I started riding my own bikes more. And my bikes have we'll call it the Jimmy setup, where I have Fast Company flex handlebars on all my bikes. You see this, you laugh at my handlebars because I have junky wrists. Well, every one of my bikes has a Scott steering damper on it because I've never met a bike that didn't like a steering damper. I have it on my YZ125 motocross bike. And people are like, why do you have that? And it's like, because I don't know it's there until I need it, and it does something good for me. Most of my bikes end up having big gas tanks on them somehow, because when I get on a motorcycle and go ride, I like to go more than a normal gas tank's worth of distance. And so there's all these things that I do. I started riding, with the Seat Concepts comfort seats, not because I sit down, but because that kind of like when you do sit down, that part of the seat, I actually use that to grip the bike when I'm falling off of it. There's all these little things that I do to my bikes. And so now when I go hop on to test a stock bike, I'm like, oh, I have to carry a gas bag. I have to be careful if I hit something funny, because if the forks aren't really, really good, I'm going to have to not ride tomorrow because my wrists hurt. And there's all these different setting things that kind of come into play. So I've become pickier. And you never rode 6 different brands of bikes in 5 days, where all of a sudden you don't even know what you're riding anymore. You just like hop on it and ride it. And it's like, they're all good. And you say, okay, I like this. And that was my job, was to describe the flavor of each bike. So, yeah. Frank White is the guy who took over ATK from Horst Leitner, and he says the best woods bike I've ridden was a factory Husaberg 2000 FE. And Frank, I couldn't agree more. And I don't know why you would need as much power as a Husaberg has in the woods. That's all I can say. But he also says Yamahas are his favorite Asian bike, and he says a great brand.
What bike was Guy Cooper riding in like 98, 99? It was a Husaberg or?
No, he was Suzuki's.
No, this is a big 4-stroke. When he was number 64.
KTM's.
No, I remember that year too. He did that for like his 40th birthday.
So he was Suzuki when he switched off road. I'm pretty sure he was on a Suzuki for a while. Then he switched over to KTM, because I think he was racing some of the same like KTMs that Lance Schmale was racing.
No, he rode a Husaberg.
You did ride a Husaberg.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what Frank actually said, it was a Husaberg also. So
I don't remember him on this bike. I remember him on the KTM, the 540, I think it was.
Well, yeah, he was. That was when you could ride a 4-stroke at the Nationals. You could ride any displacement 4-stroke.
Yeah, but Guy Cooper made that bike look unbelievable for how big it was. It has like 4 headers coming out of it.
2. That's either Husaberg or KTM. Those are the
only ones that were doing Husaberg, yeah. I wish I knew more about this bike.
Yeah,
I would not care if you didn't love Husaberg, though. When I saw that, I was so excited today, and you didn't even know about it.
I can't be a history. I hardly remember what I did half the time. I can't think about other people's racing careers. And a guy named George Justice says, Andrew, did you enjoy the Dakar this year? Can you tell us your worst and best memories from the race? So for those that don't know, Andrew was a passenger in a factory Toyota Gazoo. That's the name of the team? Gazoo? Yep. Rally car with Seth Quintanero as his driver. Yeah. Yep. So I sometimes I refer to you guys as navigators, and sometimes I refer to you guys as passengers.
Same.
And so anyways, and if for those that don't know, Andrew, I should probably introduce and explain to you the fans a little bit more. Andrew was a factory supercross and motocross racer through the late 90s, or no, really early 2000s mostly, correct? Mostly 2000s.
Yeah.
2010. So early 2000s and 2000s and somethings. And then he somehow strangely became addicted to rally racing. And that's where I ran into Andrew. And so he was a factory Yamaha and Husky, and that was it, right? Both Yamaha and Husky.
Yep.
On the rallies. I know you did some stuff with Honda early on when you got started.
Yeah. That was my job with motocross and supercross, was with Honda, and that's how I got into rally.
And became a really good navigator, an excellent navigator, and worked his way into navigating in 4-wheels now. So, Andrew, how did you enjoy the Dakar this year?
Yeah, it's super fun race, really cool. It's a lot different in a car than it is a bike. But it's kind of nice, these early morning liaisons when you're, going to the start of a stage. They're not as early as a bike. I had a windshield, I had AC, a heater, headphones,
AC?
Music, whatever you want on the way there. It's really nice. The program I was with was at a super high level. It's basically like a factory bike team, similar to a KTM or factory Honda. And the guy I went with, Seth Quintero, he's a bike kid. He's only 23 years old. I'm basically his dad's age, which is wild to think about. But he's super quick, good kid. He's been there quite a bit. So we did, the highlight was stage 2, which we won, which was really, really cool. The following day was the low. We got 4 flats and did 87 kilometers on a rim, which I didn't know was possible. Let me tell you, it was rough. And at the same time, I thought a race was over. So to get to the finish was super cool and good. Had some strong days after that, but it's a different life in cars than it is bikes. And this is the first year I didn't miss the bikes. Every other year I see all the bikes going out and I'm like, oh, it looks kind of like I miss it, And this year I didn't miss it at all. So, but it's such a cool race. It's the Everest of dirt bikes. And it's just cool to see all the people, the different classes. And the bike race was crazy this year. And especially for Ricky and Luciano, it blows my mind that it ended that way, but that's also racing. And it's crazy how everything worked. But for me personally, it was a good year. I learned a lot, made a couple mistakes, but cool race.
Hey, who doesn't make a couple of mistakes? I don't think there's anybody that does that. And having worked with different navigators and cars and stuff, and Andrew teaches me a lot about how to work with these guys because I've worked with some of the UTV guys and stuff. Sarah Price and her Navigator, for instance. But the role, how much it's different, just things like, you guys have to learn how to talk to each other and communicate, as well as you can't see like what you come off a motorcycle and your head swivels 360 degrees essentially. And in the car, you're just kind of locked in and focused forward. And it's a crazy game, and it's just getting more that the getting to the point of the needle is pretty sharp.
Yeah, but it's nice being in a car because you're going at the bike, speed. Those guys are hauling. They're going so fast in the car. Same like with the bikes. But the bikes, you glance down and then you're back up, and then you're finding your reference and all that. In the car, you get like, for me, I can really look at the road book and be like, okay. But it's hard because the other person's you don't know where they're going. So you can't look too long, I guess. But it's a different game. And the bikes had some separate routes, and they played the opening, bonus game and all these things. So it's different, but it's the same. And the navigation is getting so high at the bikes. I feel like there's less depth in the bikes right now, but the people that are there, the top 10 are going so fast. I think it's faster than ever, just like Supercross or, GNCC, all these things. Everyone's so specialized now.
Yeah. Specialized is what I was going to say, is how everything's so specialized. And I know it from working with the guys, and I'm trying to really broaden their scope of what they see. Not so much that when they're doing what they do and what they're really good at, it's when something goes wrong. And this is something I wanted to ask you is I kind of feel there's too much what we call lottery currently in rally. that they're kind of trying to strategize like which days they want to win, because the next day they might have to open and with these opening bonuses on the days the cars had where you guys opened on your own stage. So it was the marathon days.
Yep.
You guys had your own stage where you were opening. Did you get opening bonus?
No, because the FIA is completely different rules than FIM.
Okay. Yeah, because I was saying, well, why wouldn't the cars have this? But
yeah, that's one thing I requested this year in my report.
Oh.
But like what you're saying, I don't understand the day that Ricky let Luciano go back right before the end. I'm like, maybe he has more info, or he's expecting, this day to be even more. And he still brought it back the next day. But I thought 5 minutes, that's enough time. And he sat there and waited. That was his strategy. This one blew my mind, to be truthful, but everyone has their own idea, or maybe they had inside information, or who knows what was going on. But that one seemed wild to me.
Yeah, I haven't really talked to Ricky at all. I've texted him a few times, but really haven't talked to him to kind of. And I wouldn't even really want it. I wouldn't want to bring it up. I did. I asked him and Johnny at the airport on the way back. I'm like, why did you sit up on that day? Like, that blew my mind. Yeah, but they, like I said, they knew where their strengths and weaknesses were with their bike, and they knew where, they kind of thought within the zones and areas that they were going. And, every team has a French guy on their team, which means you get somehow, the rider knows the cook, that knows the guy that was on the opening car, that talked to the organizer, it's always that, you're always trying to find every single little bit of advantage. And yeah,
It was fun to watch, just because of that. Like even like with Ricky, he's like, no, I brought it back the next day. He was so confident that he could do it.
he was.
And it's
Hey,
crazy.
when I saw his interview the night before, it was like he's got it, and I could tell he was the only guy that was in the right headspace, and then everything changed. And that's when they say it's not over till it's over. Perfect example. And I was gutted, and I couldn't for 2 days. I couldn't even look at it or
it's crazy.
Nothing. It was just because I know how much work he put in, and this year was different. He really put his head down. A lot of people around him put their heads down and gave him everything he needed. And I know, like I said, I know how hard that guy worked, and this
is racing. This is just racing. It's like some years you're the best person, but on paper you don't have anything to show for it. And I think it doesn't matter what type of racing this is. It's like sometimes if it's not your year, it's not your year. And on paper, he was the second best rider, but if you were there, you saw something different, right? And but it doesn't matter. That's why you race, and that's why it's so fun, and that's everything else, and that's why we're addicted to it. It will define him and make him a better racer.
It'll make him a better. I told him the one thing when I texted him, I texted him and I said, like from everything I saw when I finally was able to kind of look at it and everything, he handled himself like a champion. He was gracious. He was bummed as hell, and you could see this, and just from knowing him, I could see how deep rooted it was. But I said, dude, when you're my age, this second or first it's going to probably hurt him in the bank account. That's probably the biggest divot when he looks back will be in the bank account, because I know the bonuses. But the pain that he's going to feel from this will make him a better person when he's my age. I hope, because there's obviously some lessons you're going to learn, things that you wouldn't ordinarily learn. You win again and you're just off on the high horse and everything's great. There's a grieving period that's gonna go on.
It shapes your character. Yeah.
So I don't even remember what places I got at some of these things that were close or whatever. And at the moment I remember being just devastated for not winning a race, or getting fourth instead of third. And you go, oh, how would that have changed the trajectory of my career? And things, you kind of play it back. My first Dakar, I only got halfway through. I was in the top 10. I only got halfway through, and I shit myself out. How would that, and I still to this day, it was I could have taken 2 little pills, Imodium, that stuff, Andrew? And so
it's crazy too. When I was sitting there at the finish, Toby was the closest second place rider to lose Dakar like that. It was 42 seconds, right? Yep. And he missed a WPP, the small notes, a 20-meter radius, and he barely didn't clip it, So he went back and got it, a 2-minute penalty, but he ended up losing it by 42 seconds, and that still shaped him, like he was having flashbacks as this was happening. You could see how much he still thought about it, and how much it changed his mentality as a racer, as a person, and the direction of his life. And so to be in Ricky's shoes, I'm sure this is going to be something that he'll think about and all that, but you can't change it, how you adapt and how you move on. And as a person and as a racer, you try to separate the two, but you can't. I feel like that's not possible. And he did everything he could. And he's got another opportunity to try. So that's the cool thing for him, is at least he can put that energy into something to go forward with it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, it's a big investment, a big commitment, and all
the
that
time
stuff,
gaps were huge this year. Besides that, 10th place was so far back. It's not normal. And
how fast, like say you said how fast those guys are riding, and when we're training, and I work with Ricky on navigation, we work on navigation and stuff, and I'm constantly trying to get him to be more aware of how to, just be a step above everybody else. Because I still feel like there's the time that's lost. They all ride kind of the same speed. I think that Ricky, Daniel, now Edgar, and a couple other guys can ride at this crazy speed, but that's all the same. The difference is made up in navigation. So when the opportunity presents itself, I want these guys to be able to do what they need to do. And when anytime we're training, he's like, dude, we don't have time for this. I'm like, no, you don't, but the time may just magically appear. And if you kind of know what this stuff is and have an idea, and because we talked about it, and even I remember some of the stupid things that we would do. Some of the when I was using you and Ricky to train with each other to try different things, and at the time, you remember how stupid you thought that stuff was?
Yeah.
It isn't, because it's teaching you lessons, I think, that you may not. It's just something you have in your back pocket that you can pull out in case you need it.
And your perspective, like you don't think you have time for it, but when stuff goes bad like that, you think you're out there for 20 minutes and it might only be 4 minutes, or the time you think it's 4 minutes, it was really 20 minutes. It's like, this is where that experience becomes, I don't know, it's more valuable just because you can process all this in a different mindset, I think, because you have experienced it before. So it's hard, but you can tell like normal people this all the time about rally and what it's like and all this. It's hard to really grasp unless you felt it. I think it's the same for anybody that specializes in something like that, whether it's a police officer when they're in a highly stressful situation, how they process that information and what they observe, and all that. They train for it, and it makes a difference. And it's no different for racing or whatever you love and choose to do. But Dakar is a unique animal.
At the end of the day, we're just riding dirt bikes, or you being a passenger in a car.
Yeah, it's the same moment in a car as it is a bike. Let me tell you. But you got one more person, and they're like, "Where do I go?" So,
like what you guys do in the car is gnarly. Just having done it a little bit more, I can't do it. I know how to do the mechanics of it. I can't actually physically be in the car and do it. I get a little bit sick.
Yeah, you could do it.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe I don't want to do it. I'm just resisting. So
it's crazy to me at Dakar how many Chinese motorcycle manufacturers are starting to get into it, and even the cars. And there's a lot of, like, obviously Kobe. Now there's Hodo. There's like all these brands. Sherco seems pretty steady. They lost Yamaha, but the KTM Gas has the factory team is definitely more consolidated, and there's less customers. It looks like Honda is kind of, now that they have a customer bike, there was probably 35, 40 of those in there. There's a different, I don't know, vibe, where before it was just like KTMs everywhere. Now there's all these Kobe's and Hodos and different bikes in the bivouac. It's interesting to watch and to see, and which ones finish, which ones don't, who's enjoying it, and to see some competition. It's cool.
Yeah, no, and it is. I mean, it's such. We don't, in the U.S. we don't really realize the scope of how big that event is worldwide. And for, like I said, for the Chinese to come in, and because the race was in South America, it really opened their eyes up to it. And now, especially with Luciano in Argentina, he went back and he had, there's ticker tape parades and stuff going on. it's just nuts. And George says, as bummed as I am for Ricky, what a story for Luciano not giving up and saying early on, it's not over till it's over. Yeah. And then James O7 says, I think WRC had similar gamesmanship, at least back in the day. Place bad in a stage on purpose sometimes. So I think what he's talking about is like your position, because WRC, they kind of start the stage and you don't want to be opening because the gravel is different, the track is different.
Yeah, they essentially clean the stage and there's more grip, right?
Yeah,
first couple cars.
There's an optimum grip time on that kind of stuff. So you would, I think, and that's the organizations are always trying to make it as fair as possible, or to make it so it's good competition, and the competition is trying to figure out how to game the regulations.
But dude, it's perfect. Like, to have the race come down to the last day and then to finish like that, they have it pretty wired,
Yeah, down to 2. If they got it down to 2 seconds and stuff, for sure that's
even the cars are pretty close now. It's like all the categories.
I couldn't believe how close the car competition stayed, and then but also the swings,
Yeah.
like you said, it's a lot of it, and a lot of it's tire based. And this is where I got back to, like, I don't like this lottery aspect in it, that you can take the risk of sacrificing your tires and doing really good, but then if it doesn't work out, it's catastrophic kind of a deal. So
the rocks are so bad, it is crazy. And I think this is one area where the KTMs are a little better than the Hondas currently, it sounds like, from the chatter in the pits. And it seemed like they had a little bit of an advantage early on. I'm not sure if that's rider or the technical side from the bike, but the rocks at Dakar, when they say it's rocky and it's only 10% rocks, that means you are riding on the moon all day long. It is crazy.
at 10% rocks.
Yeah. I actually talked to the guy who does all the calculations with the terrain. And so he has 5 buttons on the opening car. And if he's driving on sand, he hits the button for sand. If he's driving on soil, he hits soil, a normal hard pack road. Rocks, he'll hit the button. But he says if he's on a road and it's sand, but on just to the right of the road is all rocks, he's still hitting sand. But no one drives on that tiny little road. You're averaging all these caps. So they might say you're on a sandy road or sandy tracks, but in reality, you are on stones. And when they have a tire pit stop for cars, it's going to be stones all day long. And it's not just round stones. These things are sharp.
Sometimes when you get there, there might have been a little bit layer of sand over the rocks, but that's gone.
Yeah.
When 2 or 3 cars go over there, it just blows off. Hey, we have this kid named Trevor Hunter who just called us on the phone. Not familiar, but I think he's a motorcycle racer from Southern California. Trevor Hunter, welcome to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday.
Thanks for answering.
Well, I always pick up for you, buddy. Are you can Andrew? Can you hear Trevor?
Nope.
You can't hear Trevor.
I mean, I can hear a little bit, but that's it.
I thought I plumbed him into the show, I think. I don't know. We'll see if everybody else can hear you. I have a question, Trevor. His name is Stoned Cage. Wants to know if. Hold on, I got the question right here. How do you feel about trail riding a 2025 YZ250F? Would a fan and a skid plate be good enough? What do you think?
250F motocross bike or 250FX?
Well, he says YZ250F. So I'm thinking that's the 4-stroke.
Yep.
Because we get to every question at least sometimes. And are you the Swiftie?
It's Dua Lipa, not Taylor Swift. There's a difference.
Okay, because somebody said James Ho says Trevor the Swiftie.
No, they got it all wrong.
Got it wrong. Okay, so I don't know any of these like in modern things here. Tell us. Should he trail ride the YZ250F?
I think Yamaha makes better bikes than Yamaha's lineup for trail riding. That 250F, it's got motocross transmission. It's not really suitable to like lugging and low RPM riding. So I think it might be a little tough if you're doing like hardcore trail riding. I think maybe the FX or even the WR250F would be the better option from Yamaha.
I totally agree. By the way, the show brought to you by Yamaha. I think that, if you're riding off-road, a skid plate's never a bad idea. If you're riding off-road, a fan is never a bad idea. But you are putting yourself at a disadvantage with the transmission and the power delivery on that bike, not to mention the suspension settings, which are not set up for it, and the 19-inch rear wheel isn't ideal. So you could make better choices. But if you're an American, you want to buy a top fuel dragster to drive to work. So why not buy a YZ250F?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we prove all the time you can take bikes and ride them and race them in places you're not supposed to.
Really? Andrew Short, what do you think about the YZ250F as a trail bike?
I think the fuel capacity is going to be limited as well. That would be the biggest hurdle for me is your fun is going to be limited to a short distance. But yes, all these things are true. But if it's what you got, rock it. Go have some fun.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Trevor, what kind of stupid stuff did you do this weekend?
I went out to the desert, so that was a dumb idea.
Oh, you went to the desert
Yep.
with
I lined up
with what kind of bike?
a dual sport, 300 four-stroke Kawasaki dual sport.
Okay. And you decided not to take a Yamaha. So that was your first mistake.
That was a big mistake, I think. Well, I was trying to go for the contingency money, but I didn't really. I didn't quite get top 5, so I didn't really make the money.
What class did you race on this 300 dual sport bike?
Open Pro.
Open Pro. Oh, because you can't ride 250.
No, it's a 300.
Right.
Well, not that I would have done any better, but yeah, it was the only class I could legally sign up for.
Okay. So the bomb run was pretty pathetic. But
I got a decent jump, but that only lasted maybe 2 or 3 feet, and then I was in the dust the rest of the day.
You know, a good friend of mine, the guy that got me my job at Cycle World Magazine, Ron Gryway, used to talk about his son Donnie, and Donnie was always 6th gear wide open to the bomb. Were you doing that?
No, I couldn't pull 6th gear, nor did I want to be 6th gear wide open, especially when the dust started to creep in. I was nowhere near 6th gear. I was nowhere near even any gear wide open for that matter.
Oh, was that so? So you started on the? Don't they separate the pros into a single line?
Yeah.
And didn't you start off to one side or the other, completely off to the side?
No.
Oh God, Trevor.
It didn't really. It didn't really matter a whole lot.
You start off to the side and you just ride off to the side so you can stay out of the dust, and you just keep going farther and farther out to the side, and so you can go wide open. I used to race a 125. I know these things.
If I was going for a good finish like I normally do, I would have ran a little bit more than one time. But yeah, I wasn't really too concerned about the bomb run. Was I think the least of my worries at that point.
Okay, so so let's just cut to the chase. Where did you finish?
Physically, I finished 61st overall, and I think on adjusted time, I think 65th or 66th or something like that.
Oh, some amateurs caught you.
I think so. I think a couple of amateurs caught me.
Were you the first bike with a headlight, do you think?
Probably not with a headlight.
What about with a horn?
No, it wasn't the first bike with a horn, but for sure the first bike with blinkers.
Okay.
I can almost guarantee that.
Okay, first bike with blinkers.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that's a win in itself, right? Win's a win.
Hey, you kids make up your own classes and excuses. You want special trophies. I think you're a winner, Trevor.
That's all I want to hear.
Is there a video coming on this?
There is a video coming.
Do we have your bomb run GoPro yet?
Yeah, I've been too scarred, or I don't know the exact word, but I've been scared to watch any of it. Although I do have some good stuff on it, because at one point, me and this other guy happened to have a horn. We got stuck behind some district off-road expert racer.
Mm-hmm.
His ego wouldn't let 2 guys with a horn pass him. And so we were honking the horn at him as he was floundering down this downhill. So I think that should be entertaining.
Well, I just want to let you know before you put that put it out on socials or any place like that. Having and using a horn in AMA off-road competition is illegal.
Ooh.
Yeah. I rode a Husky dual sport bike in a GNCC, and I used the horn to pass the guy who was leading it overall. He was a kid, and his dad actually was kind of high up in the series. And I surprised him with a little horn blast, and he just got right out of the way. He had no idea what was coming, and I passed him and won. And I was informed of the finish line that using horns is illegal, and you can read the AMA rule book. So
that does sound familiar.
Yeah, I don't want you to get in trouble. But you know, if it's good for views in your social media profile, then go for it by all means.
Yeah, I'm gonna sacrifice this one race result to get more views on the Dirt Bike Test YouTube. So,
Okay. Well, everybody check out the Dirt Bike Test YouTube. You're probably watching it right now, or you're on Facebook or one of these other things. Trevor puts up really good content some of the time when he doesn't put it on his own personal page, which is like it's what's your dad's Instagram account?
1-800-DENT-DOC.
Yeah, 1-800-DENT-DOC. Yeah. Thank God somebody sponsors you. So what's next on the calendar? When are we testing all these 450 off-road bikes? When are you bringing these out to me to go riding?
I think we're still waiting on one or two bikes. We have all the Japanese bikes, but we're still waiting on the KTM and Triumph.
Andrew Short's going to be out here shortly. He would love to ride all these bikes.
Does he have any OEM contracts? He may be biased. I mean, he's kind of a big deal. So.
Nope. He's a Toyota guy now.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Factory Toyota. So he's pretty open on the bike front. He rides a KTM, but I ride a Yamaha, so we balance each other out.
Okay.
I ride a KTM too. And sometimes I ride a Honda. I
want to try a Ducati.
Oh yeah, Andrew wants to ride the Ducati.
I've been trying to get one of those too.
That could be difficult, especially one with a headlight.
Yeah, I think don't you have a connection, Trevor?
Yeah, I got in contact with someone at Ducati, and then we just haven't been able to connect. But I'll try and I think with Supercross and everything,
we're a little busy.
We're a little busy, but I think we should be able to get a hold of it now, and then hopefully get it included.
Well, I got to reach out to the tire guy, like I told you, or I'm going to send you his contact so we can get some similar tires and all these things, and then bring them out here and I'll help. Me and Andrew will help you burn off those tires. And G-Man 273 says we need to get a Sherco. So can you get right on that, Trevor? Get on a Sherco?
Yeah, that'll be my first call.
I heard the importers and stuff like that is super. It's in a really good place right now here in the States. Hey, yeah. What about a Fanic?
Are those even available?
I saw somebody. Oh, I know. Jubal Brown is working for Fanic now, I think. So I just saw him at the show the other week. So yeah, we should get all these bikes. You should get all these bikes.
And invite you once I have all the bikes.
I've been just like a plumber or something like that. Yeah. And a course director in Mexico. You going to come and race Nora?
Is JLR going to sponsor me?
No, I think that you should talk to Kawasaki since you're the factory Kawasaki KLX 300 rider. I bet you could get top 10 on some weird bike like that.
How about a TW 200?
Yes.
Yeah, Andrew says yes.
That's like the bike of choice for Mexico, right?
Some people say it's good in the sand. But have you? So Trevor, you've ridden that thing, right?
Yes.
Do you notice a big problem when you kind of touch things you don't realize your wheels are touching?
I rode some like rocky, not super gnarly, but like just rocky tight single track.
Yep.
And that bike was definitely a handful in the rocks. Way more than I ever expected.
Yeah, because I've had people that bring them when I used to run an off-road school. I have people, and you ride them and you're not used to this wide tire, and that tire touches everything. You're like, why is this thing touching and gripping things that it shouldn't?
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, you should ride the TW200 in the Nora. Talk to Mike Ulrich, see if he can get you some budget. It'd be a really good promotion for that, because imagine how many people would love to take a TW200 the length of the Baja Peninsula.
There's so many people, I can't even count.
It's a huge sales thing. Let's see. We have a question here from Asher Lito. He says, I know having a stiffer spring in the rear will cause the bike to ride better in the woods. Will this cause the bike to ride poorly in the desert hoops or a lot higher speeds. So
What did he say?
he says, I know having a stiffer spring in the rear will cause the bike to ride better in the woods. This is here's just kind of like just normal. A stiffer spring causes the bike to hold up higher in the stroke in the rear. Now, whether that makes it ride better in the woods or the desert or anywhere depends on how you like your bike to ride. The spring is I would say it's the first component of the suspension system. It's what's causing the holdup and all this other stuff. So I don't know that necessarily stiffer is better, because stiffer might mean higher in the rear, which means more weight on the front wheel. And we're at this point, we're talking about bike balance. And so I don't think that it's kind of like, well, what do you want your bike to do better in the woods? Do you want it to steer better, or do you want more stability? Or there's a lot of other questions. So he has a follow-up. He says, my race tech either has a spring that is softer than the front spring for my weight or stiffer for my weight. I'm wondering which is better. The spring that's the right for your weight is the better one.
Yeah. So we actually have an article on the website talking about different shock springs.
Amazing.
A lot of times there's like 2, maybe even 3 different spring rates that will kind of fit a certain rider's weight. And, a lighter spring will have more preload on it. A heavier spring will have less preload on it, etc. And personally, I like a stiffer shock spring because on decel, I find that the bike remains kind of flatter and calmer. But the trade-off is under acceleration, the bike will squat, or like the bike, the bike feels more firm and like less movement with a stiffer spring, or with a lighter spring when it has more preload. So it doesn't kind of hold up quite as good with that lighter or that heavier spring, if that makes any sense at all.
Well, I think what you're trying to say, and maybe Andrew can kind of bounce back on this one, sometimes a spring that's too preloaded is really stiff initially, and then it breaks, and then it gets wallowy.
The wallow for sure.
Yeah, and you don't want and that's my problem with most 250Fs is I have to preload the spring so much to get the kind of the ride height that I want, but then it gets a little, like, I would say, springy at the top of the stroke, and then it like you say on decel, it almost pops. It kind of forces the front end down, where if it were a stiffer spring, it would actually be softer. If that makes sense. So,
I've used this race tech calculator, what this guy's talking about.
Yeah, hold on.
Talking all about that.
Yeah, can you hear Andrew on the phone, Trevor, or not?
I can't. No,
you can't. Okay, he was saying that Race Tech has a really good spring calculator that works.
Yep.
So I've found that as well too. You can use their spring calculator, but the kind of the go-to for me is if you can get your static sag and your rider on the bike sag within a range. So like if you're on the bike and you set your sag with your weight, and then the bike tops out, your spring's too soft.
Yeah.
And vice versa, if your spring is super loose and you're still not able to get your amount of sag, that's problematic as well. So there's ways to check it on the bike, the spring you have on the bike, and then you can use some of these spring calculators that you can put your weight in, and they'll kind of give you the what they feel is the ideal setting.
Yeah, and like too, I have a shock spring. I'll measure the preload on the spring, so I'll measure the length of the spring wherever it's at, like fully tightened, and then I'll take the spring off and measure it, and I try to keep that number under 10 millimeters.
Right.
I usually am in like the right area for how I like my bike set up.
Right. Hey, Trevor, I asked AI to tell me how I could make Tech Talk Taco Tuesday better. And it tells me, well, it says for sure I have a lot of sound issues. It says structured best of segments. It says some of the most popular episodes focus on the best of everything. Formalized segments like Tool of the Week or Best Bike Ever Built provide a reliable rhythm that fans can look forward to every week. Do you think you could make that happen on Tech Talk Taco Tuesday for me?
I mean, I could do like best of Trevor Hunter.
Okay.
I'm sure that'd get a ton of views, I would think.
Best of Trevor Hunter.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that good. Well, here's another thing that it said. It says there's consistency in scheduling. It says the show has occasionally moved to Wednesdays when the host goes riding and loses track of time. While the casual vibe is part of the charm, a rock solid Tuesday schedule builds a consistent live audience. What do you think?
I think AI just doesn't really know what it's talking about.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
It says also bringing in more high profile guests like Ricky Brabeck or Jay from Dirt Bike TV adds variety and brings a new banter that keeps the 2-hour runtime engaging.
Me and Andrew aren't high profile enough?
No, Andrew is high profile enough. I just wanted to point that out, that I'm doing what AI is telling me. I was actually thinking about asking AI right now is when it becomes self-aware, am I in the top 3% of the people that it's going to come and kill? So let's see. James Oho7 says, I'm old, but the rule of thumb used to be spring for your weight, valve for your speed. Is that still a thing? Andrew?
I mean, I feel like that's pretty accurate, right? Still.
I think the stock valving in 95% of the bikes is fine if you're within like one or so spring range with it compared to stock. So if you go up 2 spring rates, you might need to adjust especially the rebound side of the suspension. A lot of times the clicker at that point can't compensate. So I think the stock valving is generally pretty good. I mean, the springs are easy to start with. If you're going to test, you don't just throw the kitchen sink at it. You do one thing at a time.
No, you're supposed to do it all at once.
Just send with your credit card, right, Trevor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
But nowadays, valving isn't that far off. Like, you can spring it pretty close, and I feel that way.
Yeah, I think you can get pretty damn close. I haven't if I'm using a bike within its design parameter, like enduro bike for enduro, whatever. If I get the spring rates right, the bike's fine. Even stock, and I'm on the heavier side of the target audience, I think it's pretty close to all that stuff. So hey, Trevor, it sounds like you're driving and you shouldn't be talking on the phone and driving, so I'm gonna have to let you go. Okay. Unless you have any questions that I need to answer for you.
Are you disappointed in my results from the weekend, or?
I haven't seen the YouTube numbers come in because I want the money that flows in from the million views, and I'll give you your 15%.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can do that.
So we'll work on the thing after. I mean, hey, if it was entertaining, that's all that matters.
So I hope it's entertaining, because it wasn't entertaining to be on the bike.
Well, yeah. I mean, you took a entry level dual sport bike and raced it at the highest level of American desert racing.
Yeah, that wasn't the smartest idea.
Well, you've done dumber. You should. Well, as a top 10 finisher at a dual sport ride that you treat like a race. You just proved what a ding dong you really are. You should have challenged all of your Big Bear dual sport racer guys that beat you to come out and beat you at this event. Why didn't you do that?
I did see a couple of them out there, and I think on the second loop, if I'm not mistaken, I think I passed and dropped one of them.
The overall winner of the Big Bear dual sport ride?
No, just someone with a lot of money in their bike.
Oh yeah, okay.
They dumped it in the rocks, and I never saw him again.
Did you honk at him?
I think I did.
Did you guys do a special like Big Bear dual sport ride wave or something like that?
Yeah, we got like a secret handshake.
Got it. Okay, Trevor. Thanks for calling into the show. I made it quick for you. Way you
All
can
right.
get to bed and pull dents tomorrow. 1-800 Dent
Perfect.
Doc. Right.
Yep.
Brought to you
Come
by
to Bing, give us a ring.
brought to you by Yamaha.
All
Okay.
right.
See ya.
See you guys.
That was Trevor Hunter. Everybody. He's does most of the work at Dirt Bike Test. I just do this stupid podcast once a week, and AI tells me that I'm not doing a very good job. So, Ashley, back to his spring. He says, my current spring has that wallow feeling, and it's a 5.3 kilogram and doesn't turn well in the trees. But the next size up is 5.7. I'm worried this would make the bike have too much weight on the front. So I don't really know exactly which bike you're at and these spring rates. It varies with every bike, but a lot of times you want to, if most of the time, I've always found that if you go up, you can go up one in the rear and you don't have to change the front. But if you go up two in the rear, you'd better increase the front to kind of keep the bike balanced. But it's all kind of, you have to test it. And it's real in every spring, every bike is kind of bike specific on how the spring works and different things like that. So you know, yeah. And in 5.3 to 5.7, I'm trying to think of.
It's a big jump.
I can't. Yeah, I can't. I don't know exactly what kind of a jump that is because I remember. I think he used to have a DRZ, but I think now he's riding a KTM. So I don't recall. I try to remember. I can't even remember what I rode last, which bike I rode last time. So. Anyways, let's see. What else do we have on the? One other thing that AI didn't tell me was that we should have a more structured show with actually real segments and stuff like that, Andrew. But you've been here and see what a shit show it is live.
I've been there live. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It's amazing that it actually works. Tonight's tequila. Hold on, this is a special segment here. Here, let me get in my tequila mode here. Hold on. First, I'll put on a Husaberg hat.
I can't believe you didn't know that. Guy Cooper was on a Husaberg 501 FS or FC 501.
What was that?
1997.
What, run that by me again? My headphones were on.
I still can't believe you didn't know about the Husaberg FC 501.
Oh,
he even raced it at the 97 Dallas Supercross.
I can't believe that. So he was a Suzuki factory rider.
Yeah, forever.
And then he switched. He was on Husaberg because you know who else was kind of running around in a Husaberg at this similar time was Chuck's son.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Chuck was riding Husabergs, and I'm trying to think of who else, but I kind of remember Guy coming back and racing KTM 520s in the Nationals.
Yeah.
And pulling a lot of hole shots and stuff. And
yeah, I remember that as well.
And I know Lance Smale was also racing, but Lance was racing like the old KTM. It wasn't even the new RFS one. He was racing a thing that Tom Moen had built. It was kind of a LC4 motor, which was that
was like 96, right?
It had to have been 96. When was I riding KTMs? No, it was 91, 92. It's all a blur. Devil's Rumble 71 says, cheers, Jimbo. I'm shipping some artisan mezcal right now. Well, cheers. I got my illegal mezcal right here. Wait, gotta make the camera work. Here we go. I've got this one here. I could have that. Actually, let me show you something that I learned in Mexico when I was down there. You know the pearls? So I learned about the pearls in the mezcal when I was down there. And this has a very small, tiny amount. So maybe this is a new thing that I just learned. But you shake it, and it's not like carbonation, but bubbles form up, and they get up around the top and then they slowly go down. It doesn't make it's not like like it wants to pop, but it's pearls, and that's a sign of a certain type of generally very expensive mezcal. So the more you know. Hold on. The more you know. Wait a minute. It's hard to hear, but it was there. It's not as good as this. But here's to a little bit of tequila. Okay.
I have some Jimmy Lewis tequila in my shop.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Courtesy of Mojave Bob.
Oh, would you remember what kind it was?
Oh, I can show you. Stand by.
Okay, grab it real quick. Going back to the other screen here as we go forward. So Ashlito is a DRZ 400E off-road model. Oh, he's still on a DRZ. Ashlito, weren't you working up in Idaho as a trail ranger or something like that, riding KTMs, I believe? This is why I got confused. And we have a question for Andrew Short. Shorty, do you do any local hare scramble? Do you have any local hare scrambles races coming up?
Yeah. We have like this series. It's called Torques by us. It's amazing. All kinds of classes. They have a Saturday, Sunday. They're two separate races, but different classes on each day, and it's awesome for my kid because half grass track, half woods, and it's super fun for me. I'd rather do that than moto. It's awesome, and we live in like the best area in Texas for off-road. West Texas has actual enduro. These are more like cross country, the Torques races. You should come do one, Jimmy. They're amazing.
I'm coming out. Yeah, I'm going to come out this year.
No, we need to take you to the Cole Kirkpatrick Grinduro first. This is right up Jimmy's alley with the.
I just saw they had a what was the thing he just put on the social medias? Some kind of a
Oh, they have like
rodeo?
a hard enduro.
It's off-road rodeo or something like that. He called it
Moto Rodeo or something.
Moto Rodeo.
Yeah.
So it's a Cole Kirkpatrick.
Look at this. This is from Mojave Bob. This is your tequila.
Wait, that's Jose Cuervo.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever it is.
Oh, it's the kit for the camp margaritas. There's the secret sauce right there.
Dude.
Yeah.
How Jimbo style is that?
That's really good. So that there, if you hold that thing up there, Andrew. So there's a French version of that's really, really expensive, but that's the cheap Mexican stuff. Yeah. That's the cheap Mexican stuff.
I have some
and you would be better off if you mixed it with a better tequila. The Cuervo will get it done. But
I've never had Jose Cuervo, but
that's a headache in a bottle. There's a lot of sugars and stuff inside of that. So, but in whatever the ratio is, it's splash, and squeeze just half a lime into that sucker, and those are with a little bit of ice and some salt.
Do you see how much is left?
Well, yeah.
Okay, so this is what we drank at the Tulip Festival when we did some road books in the great state north of Colorado. And so you made me have some of this because of Mojave Bob. But since then, it's been sitting on top of my refrigerator like a trophy. Great memories riding.
Yeah. So that was it. That was at the one. Yeah, the one up there north.
Yeah.
Right. Are we going back to that one?
I want to take my kid to make him learn the joys of road books.
I got an invite for that one again this year, so I got invited back. I guess I may have got kicked out. I don't know. This is a cliquey group.
Yeah, you're back on the list though. You were off the list for a little bit.
I'm back on the list. I was off for like 2 years, and maybe because I didn't show up or something like that. But I'm back on the list, and he even told me because I said I used to work an event someplace else at the same time as that one, so I couldn't go. But I'm back on the list, and he said because the camping and the stuff around there is really tight. He says I'll save you a spot. So I'm like, oh, I don't have to, because you literally would have to make the decision to go and make it happen. So James Ho 7 says, I'm down. I do Torques. I heard you show up sometimes. I was just wondering, dig it, look forward to come by and say yo. So Andrew, be ready for James Ho 7 to come out and say yo.
That's the best part about these races. It's way better than motocross. and the whole Torx family is amazing. So,
Yeah.
in the like, this is the best time of year. It's a little cold right now, but spring and fall is amazing for Torx. Summertime they do the sprint enduros just because it's so hot. They pick a venue where you can camp underneath the trees or at least have somewhere to get in the shade, and a little shorter motos. But it's my favorite. We also have another series. I've never done it by us called TX2. It's more like J-Day style, but I'm more into the Torque stuff. It's cool. I like it, and we have so many friends that do this. Our local dealers big into it. It's a good time. They got some cool properties. One even here in Smithville, where I live, that McMahon. So it's really fun.
Yeah, so it's James 007 is his real name because oh ho ho is a copyright dodge or something.
No, they're a ton of cool people, so I'll be on the lookout for them.
San Felipe Bob wants to know, do you have any timekeeping enduros in Texas? They still do, don't they?
Yeah, that whole group, that's the TSAC group, so West Texas people. And so we have a restart format at the one in Smithville. It's the only one that comes over here to Central Texas, this series. But they still do some timekeeping one. There's I think it's Concho or one of them. It's almost like a reunion at this event with that whole group. But there's a whole group that are still into it. That's kind of like rally style. I don't really fully understand it. There's a lot that's going on with it. But when you go to these events like Cole Kirkpatrick's Grandero, you sit around the campfire and all these dudes, that's all they talk about is the traditional enduros and the stories coming up on checks early and all the madness associated with it. And they just laugh and they love it. And they all call us idiots because we don't even really know what it is. But
we'll turn around and say, have you ever ridden a road book rally? That's the only difference is they're playing where you're using the road book to kind of figure out where to go.
Yeah.
They're using their little roll chart to figure out like when they can go fast and when they can go slow. It's more time, speed, distance.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. And I used to be pretty good at that stuff, but it was just, you learn a kind of a set of rules and you're still racing your motorcycle. And after a while you kind of figure out all the tricks and it's, yeah, San Felipe Bob says burning checks and TSCEC.
Yeah, that's TSEC.
TSEC. Yep, that's the timekeeping enduro. So
yeah, they're a bunch of good people. Like, they're awesome human beings. They love racing. They have a huge passion. They're mostly just clubs out there in West Texas that take care of these properties, and really cool people. But I understand the concept of timekeeping enduros, and it sounds like a good time. But nowadays, it's so different, and just to get people on dirt bikes seems difficult. So
well, and then it's just like getting people to come to a rally. It's like I have to put this stuff on my bike. Well, even in a timekeeping enduro, you have to put some stuff in their bike, and a lot of people didn't do timekeeping enduros because it took a little bit of equipment. And I mean, even we're going through that with Nora. Like, they want to come and ride Nora, but they're like, and we actually made a GPS class for people that didn't. We're going to give you the GPS line. You're not going to get to ride the whole course or exactly the same course rally because it's not fair to have a line. Actually, I still feel that if you gave equal level riders, a guy that was good at following a line and a guy that was good at reading a road book, the road book guy would win. Like, I could give, let's just say, someone who's really good at hare and hounds a line and give Ricky Braybeck a road book, and they go the same places, and Ricky would smoke him.
Yeah.
Because the road book tells you what is on the line, but you don't worry about the spots in between. At that point, you just go as fast as possible. But when there's something you need to pay attention to, you do it. When you get to that spot, you can look at the line and kind of follow it, but then you don't know the difference between that twisty little section versus like when there's a danger.
Yeah,
so
he's so specialized on distance too. He knows what 500 meters feels like on a bike. He doesn't know what that looks like on a GPS, but
yeah. Yep. So Marco says, do you ever ride just to get lost?
Those are the best days, right?
Yeah, sometimes.
You get lost a lot, Jimmy.
I've never been lost in my life. Like actually lost where I don't know where I'm at. But
you're always like, hey, let's go over here.
Yeah. Well, we've done that a
And then you're
bunch.
down some canyon and can't get out of it. That's the problem.
I've always got out.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think I've ever made myself completely stranded where it required like some sort of really serious outside assistance. Like that, I haven't had to take my bike apart, disassemble it, and rope it down a canyon. I have friends that have done this, and I'm very cautious when I ride with someone like Casey. Remember when we were riding with Casey?
Oh, that was one of the highlights of my life.
Yeah, and we're doing this stuff, and you're just doing this crazy stuff. Well, the only reason we went on that ride on that day doing that thing was because I knew where we were going, and he wasn't going to go deviate and go. We're in places where you don't want to deviate.
Yeah.
There's things. Like I can point you at some canyons. We've done road books, and I can point you at some canyon across this valley, and I go, yeah, they rode down the nice sand wash on top of that, and then they went down a couple ledges, and then they went off one that going back up, and another, and then they called their wives to bring the trucks out and some ropes, and they had their wheels off the bikes and the swing arms. But
some of the best exploring I've ever done is with you going. When we were looking at stuff for road books, and you're like, "Hey, I've never been over here. Let's go." And you ride down the canyon to see how far you can go, and just walking around. And
it's so much better with two people.
Yeah,
because then you can lift things that ordinarily wouldn't be possible, or hey, go see where it goes, and then at least if you have to hike back out. I remember those days near Tonopah, we found some pretty cool stuff. I need to go back and just go trail ride there because we were on rally bikes there. I want to take my 300 there, or I should say my Yamaha. I should take one of my Yamahas. By the way, this podcast brought to you by Yamaha. If you are looking for a new motocross bike, get a YZ125. How come your kid doesn't ride YZ125s, Andrew?
Because he's on an old. We probably should be at this point, but.
Is the Yamaha and KTM competitive?
Yeah, really more so now because people are investing in the Yamaha. Just there's more resources, more kids on it, so there's more money in it. So the engine builders, they're making more parts for it and spending more time on the dyno with it. So that's the bike to have right now if you're a kid is the YZ125. I feel like it's going to keep trending that way unless KTM can get the fuel injected stuff figured out. And in Europe, a lot of the kids are still on fuel injected 125s, but not here in the US. If you look at the starting gate, it's pretty much it's transitioning to all YZ125s.
Huh. Because they're having reliability issues, or they can't get the power out of
power. Like if it was just if you kept the fuel injected bike stock, it will go. And you can put the SXS kit on it and it's pretty good, but it's not like the carb bike. Or if you put some money in it, like every parent does, like for whatever reason, you can make that YZ125 rip. And parts are easy, cheap, and you can get them. It just seems like it's the way to go.
How many hours can you get out of a 125 race bike right now?
10 hours on a top end and about 40 hours on a bottom end.
Huh? Because I think it was in around 2005. Mitch built me a full pro circuit YZ125 motor.
He has a good one right now still.
Yeah, and he said, do not run this more than 10 hours.
Yeah,
and it was like 9 hours, and I started getting scared, and he was like, yeah, it doesn't just stop running, it blows up.
Yeah.
The piston goes out the exhaust port kind of a thing. And it was pretty incredible. But I'm thinking about like what I do with it and how much I like to ride and all this stuff. It's like, 10 hours. It really doesn't take that long to get 10 hours on a bike.
No.
And so at that point it was kind of, and the cylinders would wear out after 3 or 4 pistons.
Really?
It was a new cylinder? Yeah. It was because he was doing some, I think he was opening some stuff up. It was, it would kind of wear at certain areas. I mean, they're trying to get 10/10 out of this stuff.
Yeah.
So, and that was a customer build, not like a race build where, that was just top end up stuff, pipe, carb mods and stuff like that, but mostly cylinder. It was mostly cylinder head, and of course, it had to run race gas, and just everything gets really expensive. And you think about, and it was maybe what 10% more than stock, but that's at that point that's a lot.
Yeah. Fuel is cheap, or it's cheap relative to doing everything else. It's easy way to get good power. But I think Mitch can even build a motor for the YZ125 that makes really good power without even going into the bottom end now. So I'm not sure exactly what he does, but between his pipe, silencer, cylinder, and carb mod, I think he can get one that makes really good power and it's fairly reliable. It seems like that's kind of the way to go.
Yeah. It's
if you're not doing cranks and bearings, it seems like that cuts down on a lot of costs right there.
Yeah, pulling the engine out and popping stuff into it.
Yeah.
No, there's your extra 3%, 4% that everybody thinks they need. Yeah. I watch even the, every once in a while I'll watch some kids that are like high level amateurs and stuff ride, and I'm like, you don't need the bike yet. It's the mistake, for sure on the start you see it. Yeah. But you think about it, it's like if you're really good, you'll just pass all those guys when they bobble. You don't bobble. So that's why I'm not a mini bike parent.
Yeah. That's the best part about dirt bikes is if it's not like any other motorsport. If you want it bad enough, you're smart, you can apply yourself. But the hardest part, I think, at that point is keeping a bike fresh for those kids. Because the ones that do want it, they'll ride. And even if you're keeping a stock bike together, it's still expensive, with everything just to keep it going.
A 250F even.
250, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a crossover in there. I think it's not even worth it to even, it's almost better just to trade it in at some point fairly early than to put a piston and put all this money into it. Because once they go, they go.
It's expensive.
Yeah. I haven't figured out that crossover, the margin for money and time and all this stuff, but it's definitely there. And it's changing now. There for a while with all the rebates with KTM and all these people, they were getting rid of bikes, and now bikes are so expensive that maybe it's better to hold on to them.
I think you need to figure that out, that crossover thing, and then you could probably have a pretty good video up if you explain the crossover inflection point, because at that point like somebody that's not so serious could probably get a pretty good bike, a decent bike that they're not going to ride to that level at a decent cost and all that stuff. Now I know guys that were getting their bikes, they were buying their like sometimes the dealer would still floor the bike, but they would give it to the racer and stuff like that, and then they would kind of turn, then the racer would sell it, and then they were able to get another one, and then give the dealer that money. So it was almost like they were riding the bikes for free, but they would just, and then the same thing, they would just switch the plastic off the new one onto the old one, and it looked like pretty much a brand new bike. It just had 40 hours or whatever it was on it.
Yeah.
Of hard use. I mean, same thing even with sometimes, they would put the tires, the new tires and all the, all the new stuff that they're not really going to use. They have their race stuff and swap it.
Yep.
So got to be.
We do the same. We take all the plastic off, wheels off, handlebars, and then we put our own stuff on. But the hard part, Jimmy, is time. I was gone for 25 days to Dakar. I came home and my kid put 36 hours on his bikes. So, and none of them were basically running when I got home. So that's the life of, at least he loves dirt bikes and not video games and everything else, or he's not in trouble or in jail, I guess. So.
Right. We'll have him doing road books here pretty soon.
How many hours do you think you do a year on a motorcycle?
Me?
Yeah.
I have
currently
no idea.
In your super senior status.
Well, I mean, I've had 3 days off because I was a plumber. I was replumbing.
But you just did about 60 in Nora, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, I rode from basically San Felipe down to Cabo San Lucas, and it was, I think there were 9 or 10 hour a day for 6. We did 6 days. Yeah, we did 6 days. So 60 hours there. I don't know. It was like a normal work week. So however many hours that most people would work. What's 40 hours is a normal work week, right? So 40 hours. I'll bet you I could probably put in 30 hours a week on motorcycles. If it was, we started adding up, it varies heavily. Like if I have to go do a lot of driving stuff to go for other job stuff, then I don't ride as much. But yeah, living the life. That's why I can tell people I got a lot of worn out motorcycles in the garage right now. There's literally a line of stuff that it just kind of works right now. I've got a bike down in Baja that's still coming back up that really needs to be rebuilt. It's on its like 5th peninsula run. I want to pull the piston out and see how it looks. So good times. Let's see. We have a couple of YouTube questions. If you listen to this podcast and you see our videos on Dirt Bike Test and you ask a question on YouTube, we typically answer at some point or another on this show. Another thing we do on the show, which we don't have tonight because nobody sent it in, is a segment called Rooster Endo. It's brought to you by Takamoto, another one of the sponsors of this show. And you send us a picture of your bike and you tell us about it, and we will, the one that brings us the most enjoyment, we will send you a $100 discount at Takamoto, but nobody sent it in. So if you would have sent it in, you would have won. And interestingly enough, a guy like at the last show or something was really upset because he said, "Hey Jimmy," because every once in a while I'll tell you, "Hey, if you want a discount from one of our sponsors, email me, and if I have something, I'll send it out to you." He said, "Can I get discount codes and listed off all the sponsors?" And I'm like, it's nice that you notice all of our sponsors, but like, I'm not here to give out discount codes. It's like, be engaged. Tell me, hey, I'd like to get this from Bulletproof Designs, or I'd like to get a sprocket from DDC, and this is what I'm going to use it on. Put a little effort into it as opposed to just like, give me. And I said, hey, he wanted a discount from Takamoto. I don't have a discount code from Takamoto. Takamoto just basically will give you $100 if we like your bike when you send it in for the show. And I said, hey, if you would have sent in your bike for Rooster Endo, you would have won $100, just like tonight. No submissions. If it was one submission, you would have won. Last weekend, it was the one, so someone submitted one bike, and I said, see, if you would have been like this guy, you would have won. Well, he got all bent out of shape and sent me an email, and he's going to tell Takamoto that I'm a horrible person and that I'm an a-hole and whatever. But, just call it like it is, buddy. So,
Takamoto is $100. Takamoto, that's some good money right there. You make some cool stuff.
$100 is $100. Yeah, $100 is $100. We may endo your bike and you may still win. It doesn't matter.
You guys pick the wrong ones every time.
That's my job.
It's pretty funny though.
We pick, and it's interesting to see other people's bikes and we talk about them. And like AI told me, if I had scheduled segments and it was a better organized show, it would be a better show. So send in your submissions to Rooster Endo. Make sure it says, here's how you do it. You send it to my name at Dirt Bike Test. So I'm not going to tell you what my name is because it's a secret. I don't talk about myself enough. So send my name at Dirt Bike Test and put Rooster Endo in the subject line. You attach a picture of your bike. Hopefully it's a nice picture because I get kind of picky about the pictures. I want to see some stuff of your bike.
This is half the problem right here.
The picture? Or sending a picture?
Yeah.
So so send a picture and then tell us a little bit about the bike. And then we'll discuss it. We'll discuss your bike and what you do with it and where the picture's taken. And if you take it in a picture in your garage and we start looking at the wall and you got pictures of a bunch of hot dudes, laying on cars, we might infer something about you. But hey, you do you. Just send me a good picture of your bike and we'll talk about it. Rooster Endo, brought to you by Takamoto, not available on tonight's episode of Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. But okay, so RPDBY on our Yamaha Kid Tested TTR 50 video says, is it easy to find parts for? Yes. If you needed a part for your Yamaha TTR 50, if your kid can break that motorcycle other than crash it and break it, or you back over it with your car or something like that, you're never going to need parts for that motorcycle. These things are indestructible. They're built to run forever. If you put gas in it, you probably don't even have to clean the air filter on these things. They'll just run forever. So yes, it is easy to find parts for if you need it. Go to your local Yamaha dealer and they will have them. Or if they don't, they can order it. Or you can go to Rocky Mountain MCA TV, click through the link on Dirt Bike Test, and they have an OEM parts finder there, and you can get every part there.
The only thing that gets messed up on those little bikes is the carbs. If you let them sit.
Correct.
That'd be the one thing.
Yeah.
It's frustrating when your kid wants to ride and the carb's all gunked up.
Well, your kid didn't want to ride enough if the carb, if carb, or you got bad grades in school and you parked it for 4 months till the next report card came out, which I commend you for doing that, but you're going to you should go out in the garage and start it up, every month, make sure it runs. But and that's an easy fix. So
that's not the bike's fault, but
I wonder if Trevor Hunter had this problem, because Joe Fitch and Cohort 1149 says, I wish Kawasaki would put protection around the coolant jug. He's talking about Trevor riding the Big Bear Dual Sport hard route on his KLX 300. Well, he smashed a lot of stuff on that ride. He rode a National Hare and Hound, and evidently that bike does not need protection around the coolant jug, Joe. And Jay Grady 779 says, great video, Trevor. And he's talking about the TF 450 Triumph desert racing experience. He said he'd love to see Trevor compare the TF 450E to the YZ 450 FX. It seems like it would be a better comparison out of the box than it would to the Yamaha with the WR. And I agree that because the Triumph is not really corked up. It's a full race bike like the YZ450 FX. So we'll see if we can get Trevor to do that. I'll put it on his schedule to test that stuff. And we have people that want to know which bike is more narrow at the shrouds, the Kawasaki or the Honda 300. They're about the same. I wonder what would invoke that question. And that's it for our questions. That's all the questions I can answer right now. Let's see. And James says the Buc-ee's ethanol free gas will keep that carb clean, Andrew.
Yeah, but it's only at 90, not 93.
Oh.
And what about ethanol? Is it good to some motor builders say that ethanol is good for the cylinder wall? Is that true or not? I don't know. It's above me.
So it there's a lot of differences, a lot of stuff that, so ethanol burns a little bit different than the gasoline. This is like a Chris Reel question. They could probably get deeper into it.
Yeah.
It kind of, I think in reality, it kind of depends on where you're at. Like if there's a lot of moisture in the air and stuff like that, I think that has some characteristics, because the ethanol will absorb the water to a certain extent until it becomes kind of saturated. And I think it burns, I don't know if I'm correct or not, but I think it burns a little cooler than the gasoline in some instances. So
that's why, like at the Lakewood National during the summer, you need a little bit of pump gas in there, or else your fuel will boil.
Right,
when it's hot out at elevation. So I think it depends on the situation, where you're riding, humidity, altitude, all those things.
Right.
But if you're from Texas, you buy gas from Buc-ee's. This just be real.
I don't know what a Buc-ee's is.
Are you serious?
No, I know what it is because I've traveled, but we don't have that stuff out here. Gary Drummond says, I remember, he's talking to you, Andrew, when you gave a guy your wheel in Dakar. He says, right on, Andrew.
He also gave me, that said guy also gave me a wheel for the car this year when we needed a wheel. And I said, we got 4 flats. We only carried 2 spares. So one of the wheels we got was from that same competitor, Toby Price.
Toby Price, yeah.
And he wasn't very happy about it, but I reminded him after the race. I'm like, hey, you owed me a wheel, huh? So he's like, yeah, true. But yeah. I've ridden a motorcycle on the rim at Dakar for a long ways.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I've been in a car that was on the rim for a long ways as well.
You're the rim guy.
I guess.
Dakar. Did you guys finish ahead of Toby or not?
Nope. He finished
No.
right in front of us.
Right in front of you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Gary says he can send a pic of his 250F. Yeah, you can. Anybody can send it in. I
That's
just hate
half
it
the
when
fun,
guys
right?
keep sending in the same bike over and over again after, you know. And the guy that I told he should send the bike in, he said he'd sent his bike in a couple times and he lost, or he didn't win. And I'm like, well, I'm dumb enough to where you could probably send it in again. I wouldn't remember it, or you just picked the wrong week.
Or he needs to put a seat concept seat on, a DDC sprocket, all these
all
things.
of our sponsors,
your
all
Fast Company
those
handlebars.
things yeah. Well, see, up above my head, there's all of our sponsors are floating. See, I blocked it out in the video. See, up there, all of our sponsors float through right now. But you know, they don't care. They barely know that we exist. Let's see. He doesn't. He has no idea. I just know it gunks up. With he's talking about the gas. Trent Zimmerman 9040 says, here's one. You mentioned things like seat concept, seat for grip, but you don't like the steg pegs. Seems like they're doing the same thing. What's going on there? Very observant, Trent. Good question. So the seat concept seat is if I let's put it this way. It's not intrusive if I decide to get back over the back, because if something hits my boots, I can't go backwards, where the seat is more in my thighs, not my calves, and I'm kind of able to catch myself there. Like, and it's really more when I'm, like I say, when I'm kind of falling off the bike, or, coming off the back, where the steg pegs need to be a little bit farther forward to do what they're intended to do. And they tend to, when I start falling off the bike, I'm actually past where the steg pegs are mounted. I know they're adjustable and you can move them back, but it's like it's kind of in a one fixed position where that seat is actually kind of a lot of some racers are using what they call gull wings on their seats. I know actually Guts makes a seat that has what they call gull wings, which is the same sort of thing. It's kind of an extended pad that sticks out the side. Well, the seat concept seat, where it gets fat, is just in the right spot for me to be able to, kind of hang on to it. So at that point, I think I would be on the more on the balls of my feet, kind of back a little bit, and then where my calves are. And it's all personal preference. So I don't want to say that one is better than the other for its intended purpose, but it's just, that's what I've found that I like.
I think it's rider preference, but also what you know.
Yeah.
Because like for Dakar now, I don't know if you've noticed, but the KTM is basically on the rear tank. They have it's not even a steg peg. It fully holds your boot.
It's
there. It's massive now.
The Hondas have the similar thing. It's like
no, but the KTM's next level, dude. It is crazy how big theirs are now. They're almost molded to the boot.
Huh? And it's where the gas tank bulges out on the back.
Exactly. Yep.
And
Unlike you, I prefer the seat concept seat, and the wing seat for Guts is too far forward for me. And so I think this is rider preference. And I've used both. I've raced with both. But I prefer, especially just to ride, the seat concepts is much better for me in terms of keeping my knees back and my butt back. I feel more balanced, right? But I think that's dependent on the person, how tall you are, and where that balance point is, and what you know.
Because I don't want it. I don't want to feel it at all until I need it. Like I say, I grip it when I'm falling off the bike. It's kind of like sort of I don't want to say I use it, but it's sort of a thing as a last resort. I don't use it in normal riding. I'm not kind of clamping onto it to help me. But when something goes wrong, I know if I clinch, it's going to help me hang on. Like if I get bucked or something like that, or if you're in long sand rollers and your front end drops down, it's at that point, I think as I'm gassing it, I can kind of clinch on the bike, and then, so the acceleration, I don't have to use my arms as much. I can use my lower body to hang on to the bike as opposed to
But what you're describing is the same way people rely on steg pegs, or like even in like motocross, supercross, you see the seat hump. Like these things drive me nuts, but everyone puts them in a different spot.
Yeah.
And it's so dependent on the person and the balance point. And I can totally see why steg pegs work for the people that use them.
Oh, for sure. They bug the hell out of me, but I see where they work.
Yeah.
But this is when you start talking about, and we started the show talking about these factory bike things that people think they need, but they're getting a production version of something that's a factory thing, and it's tuned to that rider for that specific thing.
Yeah.
Like, the seat bump you're talking about, that's like a lot of times, that's so guys can accelerate harder so they don't slide back. It's for other people, they need it to remind them to sit farther forward in the seat. Like I could probably use one because I tend to get lazy, and I'll go what we call old guy style, and I'll sit down in the middle of the seat instead of the forward part of the seat in the turn, and then wonder why my front end doesn't stick. And so it's the again, it's personal preference, and different things work for different riders. And in all honesty, I would almost like the seat concept seat to be, if I was using it like if for the hanging on to the bike, I would almost want it to be just a little bit farther forward, but then it's not comfortable to sit on.
Yeah.
So it's two things. Michael Cloak says, Andrew, how did your back do with riding in the car?
Surprising. I don't even notice it. It's probably worse on the dirt bike, but I don't even care. I'm just happy that I have my health and can like still ride a dirt bike and all that. I'm thankful for that, but it doesn't bother me in the car when I get out. It's crazy how small the car is. That's what bothers me more than anything. Like where I sit, my legs are shifted and there's no space for anything. It's built for where the engine needs to be, and they want your weight on the edge and the lower center of gravity. It's not for comfort. So imagine being on a road trip and you cannot move for 10 hours. That's how I feel in that car. And you have the, 4-point harness or 5-point harness or whatever. You're just like locked in. So that part I do not care for.
I sat in a race prep Polaris desert car the other day as in the driver's seat, and my legs were cocked off to the side like you're talking about, and where the pedals were. And when I drive desert cars, I do both 2 feet sort of thing, and I was crooked. I'm like, there's no way I couldn't do this. I'd almost want to single pedal it just to open my hips up. And or single foot it. It was so weird. And
imagine that and shifting, and you have like with your clutch and how they're shifted. It's way worse than a side by side is like a Cadillac compared to these cars because they only care about performance. It is crazy.
Yeah, I sat in the Ford Raptor thing.
Okay, yeah.
Also, and it was like, wow. Yeah,
and those are low, huh? Like the seat position and all this, you can't see over the dash very good.
Yeah, I think it's lower than. That's the crazy thing is you can't see over the hood of those cars. It's kind of like a Can-Am versus Polaris. Polaris you sit up high in, and the Can-Am you're kind of like really down low in the seat.
Yeah, the Ford you're really far down in the car. They care about center of gravity as well, as what I'm thinking is why they're so low.
Yeah, and those cars are like Formula One cars for the dirt. It's pretty incredible, this stuff. The thing. And Gary Drummond says he likes the seat concept comfort seats, but the Sala de Ville seats are Italian art. So,
I do think they look good, but like the factory edition seats, they tear me up. They have no sense of comfort. It's not even like performance. They just look good. They're good for nothing, but
we used to joke about KTM seats. I mean, they would just get the wrath because sometimes they're made out of cardboard and sometimes they're made out of mush and sometimes they're made out of cement. And we always thought that they put the worst seat possible on that motorcycle to distract the, quote, journalist's attention from something else that was problematic on the bike. And I remember when the Sala de Ville seats started coming on some of them, it was like, oh, finally a nice seat. But it was like, I think they just put the seat cover over the cement that they poured on the seat base. The only one that could have been worse is maybe that Achirby's seat that had an air pump in it. Do you ever see those things with the hooks?
Yeah, those Yeah, they're horrible.
That'll tear you. That'll tear you.
But Cherubies makes a lot of nice things, but those seats, they weren't it.
Yeah.
The new KTM seat's pretty comfortable though. It's one of the better seats I feel about all the manufacturers.
No, there's no seat like an XR650, Andrew. You missed out.
That's true.
You missed out on a sit down. I mean, there was a time when sitting down was the way you rode. You sat down the whole time, and like I'm just past the age where that happened. I stood up, but there's guys that the seat was the most important thing on the motorcycle. And,
but if you dual sport, you pretty much have to have a seat concepts, comfort seat. Even like trail riding in the mountains, if you have a good seat like that, it makes a huge difference.
Oh, for sure.
Because I used to roll my eyes at the price of it and whatever. Like, I don't need one of those. But then once I rode with one, I'm like, oh, okay. And then when you get your own bike, you're like, oh, okay, I'll buy one.
As me, big tough race guy, you know, I'm like, I don't need one of those dual sport comfort seats. It's like, I don't want that. And kind of like the front disc rotor thing that I just complain about, the disc protector all the time. I was like, kind of sort of like, I'm never going to go there. And I think one came on a bike that I bought, and I noticed that I actually was able to grip with it. I could kind of squeeze the bike, and I'm like, oh, this works for something. I think it's good. And then, you know, when I did sit down, when I was doing like, quote, real dual sport riding, that made a big difference, and it is nice. Yeah. Michael Klog says, tell Jimmy to say it like Clough. Are you guys going to make it to the Tulip Festival? That's that thing up north, right? Is that what they call it now? The Tulip Festival?
Yeah, it's the Tulip Festival.
Tulip Festival, the YSR. Is that it?
Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Same.
A lot of code words. A lot of rally mafia code words here. And James says Beta's had the 2x4 seats for years. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like it.
The seat of my 23 Sherco is the best OEM seat my butt has ever sat on. So
the Sherco was interesting. You guys, I don't know what was going on with Trevor, like what the inside joke was there, but the actual factory edition Shercos have a lot of nice components on them. They have like KYB suspension, a Kropovich exhaust. Like they have some nice parts on them.
Yeah, I mean they're when the newer importer kind of came, and this is when like Cody Webb joined him to ride. We wanted to go kind of test the bikes and stuff, and they didn't have any bikes, and then when they had bikes, it was a problem, and then they kind of made some deals with only certain outlets were doing, and so I just, you know, it just became a kind of a pain in the ass, and there was kind of a hot potato between the ex importer and the new importer, and I didn't care to. But
they have a new one now, correct? Right, as of like 6 months ago.
I think there's another new one. Yes, I don't know much about it, but then again, I'm not trying to ride.
The old one was based around us in San Antonio, and I think some people had difficulties with him. But it seems like everyone's really excited about the new guy or new opportunity with the new people. I know Lafferty's there, and it seems like there's a breath of fresh air. I don't know anything really about it, but that's what it looks like from the outside.
Mike Lafferty's at Sherco?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know this. Yeah. I mean, Jeff Aaron's back at Beta. Mike Lafferty's at Sherco. People are bouncing all around. I just ride dirt bikes anymore, Andrew. I'm trying to. I need to be more engaged in the industry, but then that cuts into my riding time.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I have a little problem that I need to work with. Trent Zimmerman says, either of you guys tried the One Gripper seat? Not
like One Industries.
I'm not familiar with it. Well,
is that what he's saying? The One Industries gripper?
It's called One Gripper seat.
No,
I'm not sure. Is One Industries? I mean, they make gear still, but it's kind of a
different people though.
Different people. It's not Ludo from the old days. Yeah. So I don't know if I've tried it. I doubt it. I just put a new seat on my quad. my Rancher quad.
Hey, I got a Rancher quad also, actually.
Yeah. That's it's the important things in the seat. So that's the questions started rolling in hot and heavy here at the end of the podcast. I appreciate you guys for all joining and watching. All 28 million people that watch this podcast. It's probably largely due to you, Andrew. An incredible guest on the show, a
Probably
great
not.
friend. We are going to be riding here come February.
Yes, hopefully.
You're going to bring Turd out here for some racing, and then we'll
Yeah,
go.
Loretta Lynn's qualifiers are already starting up, Jimmy.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Are you riding the qualifiers?
I'm not riding this one, but I'm not sure if I'm going to ride them at all.
Oh,
I want to
okay.
do more trail riding.
Yeah. Well, that's a great choice. I mean, you can never go wrong with extra trail because I want to go. There's an area you told me about probably 7 or 8 years ago, kind of like North Colorado kind of thing.
Okay, yeah.
There's an area you told me about up there that I want to go.
Yeah.
They had some good stuff. I'd like to get back to the Tulip Festival. That sounds really good. I'd like to go out to that place in Utah that we went to again. That'd be kind of fun. There's lots of places to go ride, no shortage. And then I need to come out and visit you. And when I go visit you, I will be a moto guy.
You need to just hop on a plane and come visit us. Well, you can ride one of our bikes.
I'll ride
minus fast
125s.
handlebars.
Yeah. Well, I can take a day off, and go one day hard moto. And well, if your ground's kind of soft, it depends on how hard it is.
You could pack them in your gear bag also. You could just bring your own handlebars with us. With you.
Factory guy. So, okay. Fast Company Flex Handlebars, another incredible sponsor of Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. If you need to, ride every single day and have comfortable handlebars, that's the way to go. What handlebars do you run, Andrew?
I run Pro Tapers because they're thin, and then I paint over them because I don't want to give them any extra love. So I paint them black. But that's my go-to. I run the Husky Bend. But I'm a big Renthal guy, actually. If I was going to choose, like I run Renthal grips, bar pad, all that, just because they make nice stuff. Good people, they support racing.
Yep. And
but I actually run a Pro
I always
Taper
ask
handlebar.
people kind of like but do you have a certain bend does that bend transition?
Yeah.
From
I
bike
run
to
the
bike to
stock
bike?
Husky Bend. It goes to all my bikes. It's really similar to the stock KTM bend.
Huh.
That Deccan makes. I just don't like the stock KTM bend because it's so wide, which you can trim down, but it's also a harsh handlebar. The Pro Taper is a little thinner in material.
So you're looking for a little bit of flex out of the bar.
Yep. And just less vibration.
Uh-huh. Yep. That's yeah. I mean, and it's funny because I saw somebody was commenting on vibration in handlebars and different things that do what handlebars do. And a lot of times, the vibration is like a frequency that runs through the bike, and you can change the handlebars, and one bar will completely dampen it and another bar amplifies it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's where like the rubber mounted bars, the bar mounts, make a bigger difference. Like those BRP mounts that we sometimes mount our steering dampers on top of.
Yeah.
They can make a huge difference on vibration. But if you put the wrong elastomers into that thing, it doesn't help at all. Like between a 2-stroke and a 4-stroke, it's a different elastomer you want to use based on the kind of the frequencies and stuff like that. So Michael Clough says, come up to Washington. He has some road books for us to try out. So I like road books in desert where there's off-piste and interesting stuff like that. Because sometimes the road books are too dual sporty, but you never know. You never know. So, well, I think that's it. We're gonna wrap up this exciting episode of Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. I'm trying to think. I don't have any other questions. I don't have any other sponsor plugs to make. I'm looking forward to my next bottle of mezcal to show up shortly from my buddy from Mexico that's going to send it up here. I will share it with you, Andrew, when you come out here, and we'll do a little bit of trail riding. Thanks again to Trevor Hunter for calling in and giving us his Kawasaki KLX 300 National Hare and Hound race update. Andrew, congratulations on another Dakar finish. Thank you. That was awesome. How many have you done now?
8.
8.
I missed one with my broken back, but I did 5 on the bike, 2 in a side-by-side, and now 1 in the car.
Yeah.
This has been fun, Jimmy. Thanks for having me. I thought I was coming on for 20, 30 minutes. We've been here for 2 hours.
2 hours. Yeah. We end up talking for 2 hours and then my brain fries. And
you're one of my favorite people.
Thank you.
When I first met you, you thought I was already doing rally, but I was doing motocross and supercross still. We were in Crested Butte, in the lodge, in the bar area. And I was like, who is that guy? And he's crazy. And then the next day you were teaching your school in the parking lot at the rider rally. And all the bikes were crashing, these big, nice bikes. And I'm like, this guy is nuts. Like, he is crazy. And I was like, I will never be friends with this guy. That's not exactly what I was thinking, but kind of in the back of my head, this is what I was thinking. And now, if I could choose one person to go ride with, this is like, the hypothetical. If you could bring one, if you were stranded on an island, who would you bring?
Yeah.
If I could go riding with one person in my life, it would be Jimmy Lewis, because we would go explore, do something wild and crazy.
That's super high honors. I really appreciate that, because people always say, I want to go riding with you. And I go, no, you don't. That's what I tell them. I go, no, you don't. Cause I never know what it is, but I go riding with Mike Shirley down in Baja for 6 days. Cause he's a super solid, the guy, he doesn't try to show me that he's fast or anything. He's just consistent there, and I don't worry about him. And that's the same thing when I ride with you. I don't worry. When we first started riding desert, I was a little concerned. I'm like, a motocrosser in the desert, this could go bad really south really quick. But no, you're solid. You're prepared. You have all your stuff. I don't have to. I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry about it. We just get to go riding, and it's a super good time. So,
well, you're one of a kind too. But
yeah, thanks. I'm just glad you don't remember when I came up to you and I said, hey, can you help me do this article for Dirt Rider? I want to do.
Yeah, you always say this. I could care less about that.
Coming up short with Andrew Short. You were focused. It was at Daytona. You cased the shit out of there was like a rhythm. It was like 3 tables where you were table,
yeah,
kind of a thing. And getting the third one was pretty tricky.
Yeah.
And you blasted it once. I mean, like you just didn't get the drive off the second one into the third one. And I had a photo, and
smashing.
You just smashed it. And it was like, oh, coming up short with Andrew Short. And I kid you not, I didn't think like that as catchy as that sounds. I wasn't thinking about that. I'm like, I got a photo of this guy doing something that could have been really bad, but he handled it just the way your body was and all that stuff. And I wanted to ask you about it. And I think I did.
I was just whatever.
Well, you were busy racing. This is why I hated talking to racers, because I knew what it was like to be one. And sometimes you don't want to talk to stupid journalists. But I remember clearing with Eric Keogh, and he's like, "Yeah, go ahead." And I think I did. And I think, like I said, you don't remember this, but
no.
What an a-hole journalist, right?
Yeah. Hey, going back to Ray and Lori, one last story for you.
Okay.
Not for your listeners. You can turn it off. I don't care. But the Sandwinder Enduro is like, it's the Smithville Enduro where we live.
Uh-huh.
The people is the McMahon family, and they used to own one of the West Texas Honda dealerships, Lubbock. Right. And they know Ray and Lori, dude, because they won some trip at their dealership with Michelin or one of these tire sponsors, and they helped with the pits, and they knew all the Honda people, and they would do the pits for Vegas to Reno and the rally that you did. What was the rally out there?
The Nevada rally.
Nevada rally. Yeah, they did the pits, and so I've heard all kinds of Ray and Lori. So I was like, no way! It was crazy, how it went full circle. And how they knew everyone, and yeah.
Hey, that's the other thing we need to do is we have the old Nevada Rally road books, and we can do it. And Johnny wants to do it. We can go. This would be.
Do you have the line, or you just have the road book?
I think I have the road book. Johnny has the line. He says he has the line.
Yeah.
So, but
if you have the line, we could make road books for sure.
Well, no, we have the road books. They're paper.
Yeah.
They're just old paper ones. We don't need a line. We'll figure it out. So, okay, everybody. Hey, with that, we're going to sign off for Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. And with that, we like to say we'll see you out in the trails. So cheers, everybody.
I'll see you at the track tomorrow with my kid.
Yeah, I'll figure out how to turn this show off. I can make it end somehow. I just push a button here someplace and it goes away. Okay, see. If you liked what you saw in this video, come check us out over at dirtbiketest.com on the webs. We have bike tests, product tests, a lot of fresh dirt, and you can even support us by clicking through our links. Hopefully, we'll see you out in the trail.